an interesting set of circumstances has arrived. What's going on with not just Twitter, but then the Durham report, or the Durham probe. So one of the first stages, some of these first stages of the Durham probe are starting to show that the story about Trump and the PP dossier was actually shopped around. Now, this was something that I swore by for a long time because on Twitter, a reporter had said, I saw this story being shopped around to a lot of different reporters, and I didn't want to touch it. And it was probably because they were really like, there is no real, they were looking at it and they're like, really, if I were to chase this down, I know I would come to a single source. And they were probably looking at, then other people were getting emails. This is what the Durham report is showing, that this was popping up in emails to a bunch of different reporters. And it has something related to Perkins Coie in that regard. So this is now something that I'm like thinking about Vijaya crying. Like that there's this meeting and she starts crying. And people are saying a lot, but in a way, one, Modi wanted to come down on Twitter a long time ago. Twitter, especially, it had to do with, what's her face? Greta Thunberg, and something she was saying about India. And then Modi was like, if you don't deal with this, I'm shutting Twitter off in my country. And so there's this anti-Modi thing going on with the people who work there. So they're against Putin, they're against Modi, they're against Trump, they're against the Republicans in general. They're sort of against almost everything that is in any way kind of nationalist in its country, in its respective nation, which that's its own fascinating thing. But, nope. But then, what I'm thinking is the deal is Vijaya is actually, I'm thinking, facing real problems. I'm thinking that a part of this is kind of this overwhelming mountain of problems because they've locked down access so that nobody can go fiddle-faddling with the algorithm as it stands or something. People are saying that suddenly a lot of what was going on Twitter seems to be reversing all of a sudden overnight. So this is something that I'm actually thinking a lot about right now, is that I'm thinking the big one. She was meddling with elections. That's going to end up if somebody were to comb through, if I'm going to have a minor lawsuit trying to figure out why was it that my account was taken down, this, that, or the other, what terms of service did I violate, and what did their office say, okay? And that would be the minor lawsuit that would then get discovery. At that point, we learn what did they do and what did they say and what did they know and when, and that's what I think Vijaya was crying about. Somebody who ran a campaign is going to sue and try to find out why you couldn't find their campaign and their candidate on Twitter when you type their name in. And that's all it's going to take. Just discovery. Discovery of whatever. That's what I think it is the moment, the overwhelming, like, holy crap, if they find out I was fiddling with elections, and then hope to God she wasn't fiddling with elections in something like India. I mean, that's your ass. You go fiddling with elections in a country where people still get whipped. I mean, holy crap. Yeah, so it just, I'm just kind of getting a little fascinated. I think that there is a tell. People are saying that this was a tell. And I think it was. I think there is a tell in this, and that there's potential for fraud, which Musk already indicated that there's a potential for fraud and the accusation of committing fraud. So that's going to be kind of its own interesting thing too. So later.